Hello guys, I am back from another video, and today we're talking about deku was a mercenary. So, in the last video deku, after finishing the one-on-one battles, it's finally time for the little ceremony where they're going to be, getting their medals. As when they finish doing their medals, it's a little speech for, it's finally time for a speech from, well, um, Izuku's long lost sister, Izumi Iruma. But instead of her actually telling the speech, it's actually her mother. Her mother, Inko Iruma. As she explained that back in the day, she kind of, was reckless and was in debt until the loan sharks get her baby and basically used it as payment. And she said that Izuku was that long lost son. But Izuku couldn't believe it, so he just ran away. But when Izuku confronted his mother, Sakura, or should I say, his adopted mother, she did say that Izuku was not her real son. She said that her real mother is Inko Midoriya, or should I say, Inko Iruma. But Izuku decided to live with her, thinking that she's the only mother that he had. She's, after all, the one who did take care of him. He, after all, thanked her for what he did, for what she did. And so, that was basically the end of that episode. And so, this will be the next episode. And so, let's talk about what happens next. As when Izuku came back to school, everybody started asking Izuku if it's true that that is Izuku's mother, like his actual real mother. But Izuku just tells them that this all is fake, and he confirmed it with his real mother, saying that that woman is probably just crazy. As he thought, I guess. But when Bakugo came here, or came to the class, he tells Izuku that, Inko was pretty interested in, meeting him. But Izuku just told him that that woman was actually just crazy. And besides, I just confirmed it with my real mother. It's just all a lie. As he says this. Yeah, it probably won't be true, because who would ever give birth to you? As Izuku just says this. Say that again, Bakugo. After all, you did lose. As he says this. Whatever. As everybody was told that they're going to be having their hero names ready and, set. And so, because all of you didn't, commented on that, post about Izuku's, hero name, I decided to make my own hero name for Izuku. And so, Midnight arrives as Midnight tells everybody that they're going to be picking their hero names. And then everybody picks their hero names just like in canon. Except for Izuku. Because when Izuku came up to the, podium, Izuku calls upon his hero name. His hero name was... I am the assassin hero. You can call me a son of the Harlequin. As everybody said this, a son of the Harlequin? Sounds weird. As Midnight said this, why a son of the Harlequin? It seems weird. As Izuku just said this, I did train in Saudi Arabia in, fighting, so it makes sense for me to pick a hero name that represents that pretty easily. And the Hassans were said to be a famous group of assassins in Saudi Arabia. In fact, I did train under them many years ago, as one of them being one of his classmates, wait for a second, being Kaminari, said this. So, you did actually work for those guys? Huh, I guess that's why you're able to create knives. As Izuku just says this. Anyway, is this acceptable, Miss, Midnight? As she says this. Sure. I mean, it's not bad, but at least be more creative next time. As Izuku just says this. There won't be a next time. After all, I perfectly made that hero name just for myself. As she says this, okay, just pick your agency, okay? And so Izuku goes back to his, to his seat as Izuku picks his agency. So, after looking in the papers, Izuku sees a agency that's pretty interesting to him. This agency was, well, a agency for, nighttime heroes. And Izuku remembers back in the day where he used to, like, do midnight missions. Like, not in, like, midnight as in the hero. I mean, like, missions that are at night. Because Izuku is an assassin, so it's better for him to, like, stay in the shadows, staying in the darkness, things like that. So Izuku decides to go for that agency. And so Izuku goes there as it's pretty late at night. Izuku sees the owner of the, agency as Izuku sees two of his other classmates. Sorry about that, wait for a second. Being Momo and, Jiro. As Izuku just says this. Jiro, what are you doing here? Including you, Momo. As she says this. Well, I decided to go for this agency because it has the most potential. As for, um, her, as in her, I mean, Jiro. Jiro said this. Yeah, I think, late night missions are more my style. As Izuku just says this. Sure. Let's do this. As everybody, I mean, not everybody, I mean, for, Izuku, he was told that he's gonna be patrolling the city with the two other girls. As he says this. Okay, just make sure to not do anything funny while you're on your mission. As Izuku just says this. Ugh, whatever. As Izuku starts patrolling the city with Momo and Jiro on his side. So, Izuku was patrolling the city late at night, as Izuku sees some random villains, mostly just muggers and burglars, and defeated them pretty easily. While for Jiro, she defeated mostly some low-level villains, and for Momo, well, she couldn't find any villains, but mostly just picked up trash. As in trash, I mean, villains. I mean, trash is one thing, but villains are another thing. So, yeah. So, after doing that, their first night out, they started getting ready for, getting some sleep. So the next day comes as it's nighttime again, where they're doing some more patrolling. So, while Izuku is patrolling the city, Izuku definitely senses something. It senses something interesting. Something like another Asan. As Izuku starts going towards that, place, as Izuku sees a Hassan. One of these Hassans was working for a gang, as he says this. Alright, I finally killed that guy, so here, as he throws the head of his, target, as he says this. Thank you. Now, see ya. As he says this. Finally, I'm done. As Izuku starts following him, as the man says this. I know that you're here, Izuku. As Izuku steps out of the shadows, as he says this. It's been a long time, a son of the blood moon. As he says this. It's been a long time, a son of the Harlequin. As he says this. Yeah, so, how's your day? As he says this. Not too eventful. Just talking to some clients of mine. How about you? As Izuku says this. Well, apparently I'm going to be married to this girl by the name of Jiro. And second of all, I'm also going to be doing a mission where I'm going to be protecting this girl. Her name is Momo Yajirozu. As he says this. Wait a minute. That Momo Yajirozu? Do you mean that that Momo Yairuzu? As Izuku just says this. Yeah, uh, as he says this. You're pretty lucky. Anyway, I'm gonna be doing some more missions, mostly pertaining to taking down some low-level villains and also finding some more jobs. As Izuku just says this. Just make sure not to get caught by some heroes. As he says this. Unlike you. So, you're actually working as a hero? Lucky you. Besides, even though I'm quirkless, it doesn't mean that I'm weak. As Izuku just says this. Right you are. Wait for a second. As Izuku starts saying in his mind, after all, his Zombania is pretty deadly. Zombania the Blood Moon, where he creates tons and tons of these orbs. Orbs made out of this dark matter. Even though he doesn't have a quirk, I think it's probably magic. And yes, this is going to be connected to, fate. And yes, it's also connected to, like, not really connected to, my old series being What If Deku was in FGO. It's more like it's a branching timeline to it. Yeah, a branching timeline. And Izuku just says this to himself. If this actually were to actually happen, I should just leave now. After all, his Zombania the Blood Moon, can easily kill a normal person, even a hero similar to, Endeavor. And so, Izuku leaves. So, another patrol starts where they decide to go and just patrol, but during their patrol, they decide to have some rest, where they're gonna be going to a late night cafe. While Jiro was hearing some music, Momo was tinkering with some, with her quirk. While for Izuku asked for some, coffee. As Izuku asks for, wait for a second, coffee. Specifically, a coffee with some creamer. As Jiro said this. So, I did know that you actually like, creamer with your coffee. As Izuku just says this. It seems more manageable if I just drink it just with some creamer. If I were to drink black, well, let's just say the toilet's about to, explode. As Jiro says this. Oh my god, I can't believe you just said that. As Momo said this. Can I have a chocolate cake with that? As Izuku just says this. A chocolate cake? As she says this. Yeah, my treat. As, well, all of them, being Izuku, Jiro, and Momo herself, were given a huge, like a fully sized cake of chocolate. As Izuku just says this. I think it might be too much. As she says this. Are you sure? As she gives a credit card to them, as they say this. Pleasure doing business with you. As they were given their cake, as Izuku takes a slice. As Izuku just says this. This is some chocolate caramel and peanut butter cake. I heard it's pretty expensive. As she says this. No, not too expensive for me. Don't worry, my father actually, shared our accounts. Wait for a second. So it won't, damage my reputation or my credit card. As Izuku just says this. Huh, smart. As Izuku tries out the cake, as Izuku just says this. I never tasted anything like this. As for Jiro, she says this. Oh my god, it tastes so good. Back in my day, I would always have to eat, crackers and things like that. As Izuku just says this. Well, mine was worse. You know how I had to eat, in Saudi Arabia? I had to eat bugs. As she says this. Being Momo. Bugs? Oh, I remember eating those back in Saudi Arabia. I actually did go there on a vacation. As she says this. Being Jiro. Wait, you ate bugs? Ew. As Izuku just says this. But it was manageable. And it was pretty easy to find them. They're after all pretty abundant there. As Jiro says this. But still, it's just disgusting. As Izuku just says this, while being a mercenary and all, I had to prepare some meals, and if I were to, lost some of my meals, I had to find some, food somewhere else. So, yeah. Wait for a second. So, while they finished eating, they basically left. As they leave, going back to their, apartment or their like I meant their hotel where they're staying. As Izuku just says this, huh? So that's where we're going to be staying for now. As she says this, being Momo, yeah, mother asked me to do this. After all, he is a pretty wealthy man. As Izuku just says this, but did it have to be this, gaudy? As she says this, oh come on, says Jiro. After all, it is quite fun to have, an apartment like this. As Izuku just says this, I mean, yeah, but still. As Momo said this, so Izuku, unfortunately, there's only one bed, and there's no couches or any other thing for you to sleep on, so I guess we're gonna be sleeping together? As Izuku just says this, what are you saying? As Jiro said this, oh sorry, wait for a sec. Sorry about that. It's just my voice. It's kind of like, still a bit scratchy and, hurts. I think it's because I drank a little bit of, like, too much soda, so don't worry, it's not. Sorry. Wait. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's go back to the story. As Jiro says this, Momo, did you realize what you just said? As she's just, she just realized what she said as she just says this. No, nothing like that. I mean, you know, sleeping with us. Nothing like, that type of sleeping. I mean, like, taking a nap. Yeah, like that. As Izuku just says this. Oh, thank God. As she says this, being Jiro, as she says this, you're gonna be sleeping on the left side, while I'm gonna be sleeping on the right. Or should I say the middle? Well, for you, Momo, you're gonna be sleeping over there. As Momo said this, how about I sleep with Izuku? You can go on the, right over there, while I sleep on the left. As Momo, Jiro said this, why did you just say that? Are you, like, anyway, you know, interested in Izuku? As she says this, no, it's not like that. I mean, well, after all, he is my bodyguard, so, as Momo said this, Izuku, we're gonna be sleeping then. As Izuku just says this, how would I sleep in the middle then? That makes sure that I'm going to be sleeping with you on both sides. As Jiro said this, fine, you can sleep in the middle, but don't think anything else. But do not think of anything pervy while we're sleeping. As Momo said this, yeah. And so, Izuku is now sleeping with the most beautiful girl in class, being Momo, and his fiancée, Jiro. And Izuku never felt like this before. Wait for a second. Feeling two, gigantic beat flaps right beside him. Or should I say just gigantic beat flaps on, Momo's side because, as Izuku just says to himself, Ugh, why? Why does this have to happen? And so, Izuku falls asleep. So, the next day comes, as Izuku wakes up and sees the door was, the door was knocking. As Izuku opens the door, as Izuku sees the, wait for it, the owner of the agency where Izuku is actually, interning in, as he says this. So, are all of you guys well rested? As Izuku just says this, just wait, I'm just gonna get ready, okay? As he says this, okay, I'll just wait outside. And by the way, did you do anything with the girls, or as Ezekiel just says this. No, I did not. As Ezekiel just locks the door and starts changing and wakes up both Jiro and Momo. As Momo said this. Oh yeah, we should start getting ready. As for Jiro, she says this. Yeah, we should go. As they change their clothes into their hero uniforms or hero costumes as they move out. So, this is going to be the final, day where they're going to be staying at the, thing, being the internship. And so, while they're looking around, they see several soldiers appear in a different part of the, city. Being where Endeavor's agency is, they see Nomus. And I mean several Nomus. As the League of Villains were riding on one gigantic Nomu that's in the shape of an elephant. As Ezekiel just says this. Hey, are we going to take down this thing or not? As he says this. Yeah, says the wait for a second. Says the man who, who owns the agency, as he says this. Everybody, let's go. As everybody was brought to the area where the League of Villains have arrived. As Ezekiel starts getting ready, as Ezekiel sees several villains appear, including some Nomus. Wait for a second. As Ezekiel starts charging towards the, sorry, wait for a second. He starts charging towards the Nomos and starts slashing at them and killing them in an instant. As Ezekiel says this, go for the brains, that's their weakness. And besides, they're not even human. As one of them said this, being Endeavor. So they're not even human then. Well then, allow me to show you the full extent of my quirk. Hellfire! As he starts using several flames made from his quirk, and starts burning the rest of the villains and, Nomus. As Izuku hears a scream from the alleyway, as Izuku starts going there and sees Ida and the hero native in a bloody mess, as Izuku sees a man with several blades upon his body, almost like he wields these blades like weapons. Typical. As he says this. So, another fake hero then. The name's Stain. And you fake hero shall die. As Izuku just says this. I'm guessing that you're the man who tried to kill Ida. As he says this. Yes. This boy is a fake hero. Wait for a second. He's a fake hero who deserves to die. As Izuku just says this. Huh. So, you hate fake heroes, right? As he says this. Yes. Just like you. As Izuku just says this. Well then, guess I won't hold back anymore. As Izuku just screams out, Zombania of the Harlequin. As Izuku starts summoning out this creature, the creature from the USJ, the monster that looks like a jester, but with, a red face and a swirling pink eye, with a almost like face markings that are colored green, and a golden tooth appears, but the main body was made out of shadows, and the claws were made from gold, or at least a gold type substance. As Ezekiel brings up his blade and says this, well then, Stain, let's have some fun tearing each other apart. As he says this, you fake hero, die! As Ezekiel starts charging towards him, and this will be the end of the episode. Sorry, but this is going to be the end of the episode. But before you leave, please comment down below. And also, subscribe and like the video if you like it. And so, I hope you liked the video, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!